everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to do another One Piece chapter review, chapter 1136, The Land That Awaits the Sun. This chapter is pretty much a follow-up from the last chapter where the Straw Hats are finally celebrating their arrival to Elbaf, and many of the giants celebrating all their accomplishments. Meanwhile, the Gods Knights appear to be making a move, attacking other giants. So basically, a few of the other Straw Hats are staying behind to look at the library. So basically, a bit of nice bits of plot progression, as well as building up the mystique of the Gods Knights. But before we begin with that chapter, this current chapter, we've got like the cover story page here, where we've got Oka Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Circuit Pilgrimage Volume 22. A mysterious base deep in Udon, in which we see Yamato holding Huldan by his hair as he's tied up from his back, as we see Tama riding on Speed and like her little giant dog pet, looking at a building that is basically Who's Who, seemingly headquarters, if you will, implying that Who's Who may likely be the mastermind behind like all the kidnappings, and Huldan was working for him. So, it's nice that we actually get to see Who's Who being like the antagonist here, because I think many people wondered what happened to the Topi Roppo after like Wano. We saw what happened to like King and Queen. They got beaten by Ritsu and Ryoku and all that, and probably being arrested by the Marines. But yeah. But it seems like the Tobi Roppo, at the very least, have all seen either one or all of them have gathered together in this base and planning their own operations against Wano citizens at the very least, so I do like that. Granted that this chapter kind of shows that does not really show that Huldan's been beaten, but it doesn't really show if Yamato did the final strike. But judging by the bonks on the head, I'm going to assume that he's the one that did it. So which, granted, the fact that there was no confirmation on that, it's probably going to be controversial about whether or not Tam is the one that ended up beating Huldan in the first place. But at the very least, I think most people are excited for Who's Who. Anyway, the chapter begins that Luffy's enjoying the deer meat that's saying it tastes like dinosaurs. With Jowl or Yowl, I heard that it's supposed to be pronounced Yowl, I think, on Grand Line Reviews, saying that he's surprised that that they managed to get one moose, saying it's delicious, saying that the beasts are very fierce. With Hojudan saying he's willing to risk it for the man who saved his life. And Luffy is thanking Hojudan and Susan for like the meat, if you will. And they're just happy they like it. Meanwhile, you just see other giants partying, and I believe Colin just walking about in a similar pose to like the sun god Nika. With Yowl, saying that it's very rare to humans to come up here to the Sun World, since they don't really know how to get here, and they assume that Elbaf is the underworld, so they end up usually fleeing. He goes on to explain that, but then we cut to like a new panel with someone being surprised about how Oz is a vicious warrior whose story's been passed down throughout their own history, but Usopp is saying, talk about how it was 3 times the size of any of these lot here, and says that the one who finished him up was him, which you get, we all know Usopp's fibbing, because it was ultimately Luffy that took him down. But everyone's going like, yeah, Captain Usopp! So Usopp's doing another one of his lies. We see a bunch of giants be a bit surprised by Jimba's skin color being blue. With Jimba just explaining like, there's even more colorful folk on Fishman Island, sliding like all fish in the sea. With other giants, particularly one of them with a glass, is saying he hopes to see a mermaid one day. And this is where Sanji goes like, the beautiful gentleman! The mermaid, it's saying like how the mermaids in there is like heaven and earth. I think probably describing like the mermaid calf and all that stuff, but with another giant being wild. But Sanji goes like how, he also feels like he's heaven here with the presence of many of these beautiful giant angels, which the female giants are just blushing and just smiling, thinking that Sanji's being cute, probably not realize just how lustful he's being right now. Let's see, as you get see his heart eyes going like, woohoo, I'm drowning in beautiful women. So then we cut to like Brock, where Giants are asking who he is, but Brock going like, I've got what I let's see, you've got what I am blues, yeah. So he's pronouncing a song pretty much to explain what he is. Let's see, there's another giant says this toast to the vast wonders of the world. Let's see, meanwhile, Nami and Zoro talk about how surprising it is that so many giants haven't gone to the sea. And since so agreeing with that statement, as she wonders, like, I thought all giants were noble for pirates. Anyway, Road comes, let's see, towards them, shocking Nami a bit. Let's see, all beaten up and all that stuff. But let's see, as he's apologizing, calling them ultra rare Nami and ultra rare Straw Hats, saying to forgive him for his earlier indiscretion, if you will. Let's see, as Abjad is just basically saying, no forgiveness for him, just make sure you apologize. But he's thinking to himself that this is awakening something in me. Punish me, good. So he's pretty much, the best way to describe it is kind of turned on by Gerd's forceful punishment of him. Zoro tells him not to really worry about it since nobody died. But he says that's only because Usopp stopped us from fighting back. And then smiles and saying, if not for that, you would have had your head would have left your shoulders. Your shoulders. Sorry, I went too fast. I mispronounced that wrong. As let's see, this spooks Road as he falls down. Giants then starting laughing at him and saying, didn't you know what their bounties were? Talking about how they never stood a chance against them, as it seems Road is just realizing just how scary some of the Straw Hats can actually be, if you will. But anyway, we get like this really funny moment where Gerd is saying, let's see, saying that, and the next time he tries something, you can just go ahead and chop off his head. Just doing a sort of hand gesture of a cut off, if you will, which, let's see, well, it's going like, hey, good, or my good in the Viz translation, but at the same time, also finds the fact that it's exhilarating as well, so it seems like, Road has a kink, at the very least. But yeah. Oops. Let's see. Oh yeah. But he's gonna say, but he then goes on saying how you don't understand. That was a dream that held by everyone born in Elbaf, saying that we all wish to be the sun god and rule the world. And this is where Zoro starts asking sun god, and this is when you start seeing some of the giants start arguing and fighting each other, saying that don't be a fool. The sun god isn't a ruler. Some saying he's a god of liberation. Others go like, no, he's a god of destruction. And then other goes like, wrong, he's the god of laughter. Let's see. Luffy's confused about what's all this brawling about and what's this about a god, as we see a bunch of the giants fight, including, I think, let's see, Road getting punched in the face. Let's see, as I think Jarl explains how Elbaf is the home of an ancient religious text known as the Harley. And says because it's so ancient, there are many interpretations of it, saying it continues to be passed down, even though no one can really translate it anymore. And it's like all the sort of confusion. And saying, according to the Harley, the world has been twice destroyed in the past. In each case, the presence of Nika, the sun god, is closely tied to it. Luffy then starts wondering, like, what is Nika? As we get a silhouette of a black figure, with white, with like the sort of white features of Luffy's gear. A black silhouette figure with like the white hair and like clouds and white cloth and white clouds around Luffy's top, as well as the white cloth, holding a sword and a shield that looks like the sun. As they go like, he is the hero who appeared to save the world from disaster, the destroyer who lays waste to all, saying he appears in the world's about to undergo a great transformation. Therefore, the great and mighty of the day always fears Nika's arrival. And Luffy's like, oh yeah, Nico, remembering that Bonnie was talking about that guy, as he goes on, because he is the god of the sun, it is those who without hope who seek him the most. Going about how Nico wears white clouds around him and appears with white hair, clothes, and jolly laughter. And Luffy, in his complete blissful ignorance, goes like, so that's why everyone said I remind them of him, but thinks that it has nothing to do with him, not realizing that, okay, actually he is Nika. He just does not, realize that, does not realize that he is basically the sun god just because he thinks that his devil fruit is the gum 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 no mi. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see if he's going to be told. So that is still into play there. As Giles just looking on with you can see how the sword is sort of twisted sideways in his helmet thing. But the giant saying, as Sturson, goes on saying, come on, don't ruin all the fun, Strat. As Hadruden says, everyone born in Elbaf, idolizes Nika growing up, which I think Goldbuds finishes that bit of the sentence. Though they go on to say that they won't defend whatever that moron Rhoda was doing. He's a bit surprised about this. And then Jarl says, even Loki, the late Harold, in a sense, are the result of tempting to be Nika, perhaps. But then you got some of the giant citizens saying, you don't have to rationalize Loki's actions that way, Chief Jarl. With Luffy going like, oh, Loki. And they starts asking, is Loki a good guy? And then you get, Hadruden and a bunch of random giants. One of them even being an elderly lady going like, absolutely not! And then you've got, citizens saying he's the accursed prince, saying even before Loki's birth, King Howard prophesied that he would be killed by his own son, saying that shortly after he was born, he killed the royal family's lucky horse. Citizens saying that this is the same year that Lennon killed Chief Jorul, the legendary warrior. Not to be confused, the other guy besides Jarl, if you will. Joro, it's a Jaro and Joro, but yeah. And then citizens start crying about how the country was beset by natural disasters because of Loki, and that the queen passed a year after giving birth to Loki. And then they're talking about how he made the underworld his playground, using his innate strength to kill and control vicious animals, and then unleashing them on the villagers, as we see like a silhouette of a young Loki summoning like those 4 ferocious beasts that he befriended. We saw he befriended during those previous chapters, the gorilla, the wolf, the snake, and the bear. As they go on, there's more of a silhouette looking more like the modern day Loki, talking about how he does aversion devastation, about how Loki's many pranks threaten their lives. Saying between his stats as a prince and his cruel personality, he made our lives a living hell whenever King Howard was away. And they go like, and then worst of all, as you see Brock, Usopp, and Jinbei listening in, going like, as we get our first glimpse of King Howard, though his face is covered in silhouette, saying Loki killed Harold, the greatest king in Elbaf history, right in his own castle up there, saying that the kind and radiant king who tried to connect Elbaf with the other countries on the world that was so terrified of our warrior-like ways. With giants then pointed to Chief Jarl, who's there tried to stop Loki, and then he got stabbed in the head. As he talks about how the helmet saved his life, and Luffy goes like, the helmet didn't do anything because it's stabbed right through him. And then the giants reveal that it was 6 years ago, I believe, that Redhead caught Loki rampaging at sea for us. Luffy is just impressed by thinking, wait, Shanks did that? And saying like, with Luffy saying, oh, I heard that Shanks is here. With the giants then explain that he was around a little while ago, but they don't know where he went though. And Zoro takes note of this, so yeah. Anyway, I'm going to give my thoughts on this part of the chapter now. I allowed it to go on a bit longer than I normally intend to. I do like how Luffy is enjoying the meat compared to dinosaur meat from like Little Garden and all that stuff. Because it's like, arguably, it's the only other giant place in the world that we've managed to visit. And I do like how Giles says that, let's see, the mooses here are kind of actually very vicious beasts, because I think some people were just going like, Juden, he's just took about a moose. That's not impressive, but according to this, it's actually, according to the giants here, he's actually a pretty fierce beast. So, yeah, I do like how they're just saying, it's nothing. They're saviors, but yeah. And we learn that most humans can't really, I do like how we learn that, okay, since most humans, it's pretty hard to actually get to the sun world part of like Elbaf, as most people only end up in the underworld. So, as a result, they only like, they only see like the underworld, and maybe that's arguably why that part in that journal says like, don't stay there long. Might be an effect for that regard to the underworld, but we'll have to wait and see if we get more from that narration a bit earlier. But who knows? We have to wait and see in that part. But other than that, we get Usopp. We get Usopp lying again, basically, about Oz, which, to be honest, I'm not really a fan of, saying, I'm him doing his, like, standard Nolan lying again, if you will, because he sort of did a similar one to, like, in Dressrosa, but I do wonder if this is going to come into effect where there is going to be an ancient giant that pops up somewhere, and Usopp has to admit that, okay, he was initially lying, but now this time he's going to try and take down this giant and try and prove himself to be a brave warrior, and maybe this time stick with it, but we'll have to wait and see. We all know that Usopp's hopefully going to get some character development here, but at the moment, we're just still waiting. At the moment, he seems to be in his lying phase. I do like how you've got the giants just being wondered by Jinbei's skin color. At first, it seems like perhaps Jinbei is like just like, oh, wait, you're noticing my skin, but just calmly tells them that, okay, there's more colors of different types of fishermen out the sea. So he doesn't, so I do like that Jinbei is realizing that it's not really offense, it's just people being a bit curious, since it seems like these giants have never really met fishermen. So there's that. Sanji, well, it depends on how you feel about Sanji's perversions, really. I mean, it's kind of funny on one hand that, Sanji just seems that he cannot help enjoy himself whenever there's beautiful ladies, be it fish mermaids, furries, or even giant ladies. He loves them all. But, though granted, it is a little tiring sometimes, but what sometimes amazes me is how the non-human female characters seem to don't mind Sanji's silly antics, though granted, perhaps they're not realizing the contents in which, like, say, Nami and Robin would. So I guess you can excuse it for that. I do like how, Brook is playing a song while explaining who he is after they also becoming a bit curious. I do like how we learn that, okay, that not many giants actually go out to sea. It's like, since Nami and Zoe have only really seen, like, giant pirates, they're like, okay, they must all be, like, pirates, but now it seems like the majority of giants actually stay in their homelands. Anyway, I do like how we get the, like, we see Road all beat up from his punishment, trying to apologize, but Gerd saying that you're not being forgiven, you're just apologizing. But we learned that Road has a bit of a fetish for being scolded by Gerd, so granted he's smart enough to keep it to his head, but I'm curious to see how it seems like Oda's trying to start making this character face his punishment and now become a bit more active, I guess, in the role, but we'll have to wait and see if Oda can do a good enough job to try and get people to forgive this guy, because what he did in the beginning is kind of scummy, really. But yeah. But anyway, I do like how Zoro says, like, it's fine, nobody died, but saying, but only because Usopp stopped him, otherwise he'd be dead. And I do love Rhodes' just reaction, just realizing just how terrifying Zoro actually is, with other giants saying, you should have checked their bounties, dude. And I do like just how heartless Gerd is for Rhodes here, just saying, if he does that again, you're free to do it. So don't hesitate to cut off his head, much to Rhodes' shock. But yeah. No, it is interesting that he talks about, being like the sun god and dream of ruling the world. And this is where we, of course, I do like that we learn the fact that after a bit of, both Road and Loki talking about becoming the sun god, and in many ways acting very differently from what we first knew about the sun god, at the very least, from Luffy's Nika. We learned that basically, hold on a second, so I'm just getting something. We basically learned that Loki, that the sun god is actually, there are actually different beliefs and multiple interpretations of what the sun god actually is, which arguably should have been, obvious in hindsight the moment we've entered Elbaf, but yeah. We end up seeing giants fight over it, and it seems like there are versions of him being a warrior of liberation and a god of laughter, but at the same time possibly a, ruler of the world or destroyer. And as a result, and the fact that there seems to be a holy text that talks about it called the sort of Holly, but since no one's alive now to properly translate it, it's open to interpretation. So you've got all these different giants fighting over what the sun god actually is. In many ways, it makes it a lot more like real world religions, where different faiths of the same gods, say Christianity with the Abraham religions, even like Protestants and Catholics, have different interpretations about the God, God, and as a result, you get people fighting over it, as you see here with the giants. So, it's a lot more fitting of the world. We also learn a bit more about his history as well. It's apparently that the world has been twice destroyed before, so it seems to imply that besides the Void Century, there's another cataclysmic event that happened that changed the world. And that Nika was always the center of it, so there's at least another sun god even before Joe Boy at the very least. So we got that lore, which might mean the 1600-year timeline thing from what I understand of One Piece. So there is that. And but yeah, and we learned that as we get more, we finally got more of a silhouette of what the giant's version looks like, of white hair, white clouds, and a black silhouette with a sword and shield. So, yeah. Talking about, is he a hero who saves the world from disaster, or the destroyer who lays waste to all? And that, we learn that basically, whenever he appears, the world's under a great transformation. So those in charge, pretty much fear Nika's arrival, which makes sense because we know that the world government would rather deal with Kaido than the return of the sun god Nika. And given Emu's reaction to Joy Boy's hockey, he probably also fears the return of Joy Boy as well. So this all makes a lot of sense. So it's whenever Nika appears, those in charge should fear it. Now, granted, it would be interesting because it seems like the Great Kingdom was the dominant power 800 years ago, but Joy Boy is seemingly their champion. So we have to wait and see how that goes. But yeah. And that I do like that Luffy is able to connect the dots. Okay, this is who Bonnie was talking about. As Joe goes on about how he's more those who seek him out for hope, and also explain what he looks like. With Luffy, so this is why everyone says I look like that. But he's too stupid and dense to realize that. So wait, am I Nika? But it's no, Nika has nothing to do with me. He has yet to realize that. Now, granted, it could have remained that way for the entirety of the series, where Luffy is just pretty much completely just convinced that he is not Nika, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see if someone's going to tell him that, no, actually, you are Nika, you have his devil fruit. Everyone sees you as the sun god. So we'll have to wait and see on that regards. But yeah, but I do like how we learn that apparently that, let's see, from like the rest of Hadrujan's crew, the other males not named Road, all talk about how they idolize Nika and grow up wanting to grow up following his dreams and all that stuff. So even though they try to say they're not to justify Rhodes' actions, I do like this is where Joe, let's see, who seems to be a bit due to the sword in his head, it seems to be perhaps maybe a bit implied to have some brain damage, is talking about how Loki and Howard in a sense were trying to attempt to Nika as well, but you get citizens from Elbaf shouting, don't justify Loki's actions. And I do like this is where the part when Luffy's just like finally asking, oh, is Loki a good guy? And they're like, no, he's a bad guy. And they refuse to accept him as being like treated as a good guy. And then we get like all these accusations of what Loki is, apparently being a cursed prince in many ways, reminding a little bit of Odin, was like what bad rumors people had about him, and to some extent Zoro, about how he was like prophesied by his own father to kill him, and that the family's lucky horse was killed. Let's see, the same year Linen got killed, Chief Joe, the legendary warriors. Let's see, Big Mom killed like the other famous elder giant. And then, of course, like the queen dying a year after giving birth. And then, of course, Loki just running amok. All these sort of bad omens with like unleashing beasts, playing pranks. And when the king wasn't there, they all had to worry about his prince stat. Basically, it's building up like how Loki's this troublemaker, but let's see, given how many One Piece fans have gone so long with like the series, we usually know that when Oda gives a description of a character like this, that's not necessarily means that they're actually a bad guy, and they might actually be a good guy. As the last chapter, as I think Loki was talking to that one fella, Shaggy, that you're actually sounding like you're actually a decent guy, but Loki's saying no, of course I'm not. But arguably, with like all these sort of bad hints that you get from the Giants, which imply to you that he's the worst person ever. But if you know Oda's writing style, it's like, okay, something's amiss here. So, but yeah. Let's see. And you get more about, let's see, I do like when we get a little bit of a glimpse of King Harold as this muscular figure, showing he's a bit more of a warrior, but we don't quite see what he looks like, and let's see a bit on the silhouette. So I do like that we're getting a bit of build up to that. But yeah, but we learned that Loki apparently killed him in his own castle. So yeah, which makes you wonder if perhaps King Harold is what the Glitzy Giant says what he is to be. And then we learned that, let's see, Jar was like tried to stop Loki and got stabbed in the head. As he talks about how the helmet saved his life, but I like how Luffy points out that doesn't seem to be the case. And this does lead me to believe more on the fact that he seems to talk about this repeatedly might mean that he's not, and like Luffy points out, he might not entirely be right in the head, so he might not be remembering things correctly. So we'll have to wait and see if he's going to get that removed from his head, which I'm hoping that's something that Chopper will be able to do. Give him a moment in this arc at least some form of doctoring. They're doing a surgery to remove that sword. But anyway, Luffy talks about, and then we learned that Loki was eventually caught by Shanks 6 years ago, and since we all know that this seems to confirm that Shanks did defeat Loki 6 years ago, and probably as a result became an emperor, since Loki had a 2.6 billion bounty. So it's like, yeah, it all sort of lines up. Shanks is now an emperor. Let's see. Loki was defeated 6 years ago. Shanks was pretty much the one that stopped him. And as a result, he got the billion. He became an emperor. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So, things are being confirmed. They're built up. I do like how Luffy talks about how he heard Shanks was here. But he's informed that from the other giants that he was here a while ago, but he just missed him. So I'm curious to see how Luffy's going to let's see, react to all the stuff that Shanks was doing here, like fighting Kid. I am very curious to see if he's going to learn about that yet, but seems like at the time being, that's not the case. But I do like that Zoro's paying attention to what Luffy is saying about how, okay, he heard that Shanks was here, which, as far as Zoro can tell, no one, he shouldn't really be able to know this information. So, as we see in the next page in the outskirts of town, Zoro realizes that he thought you were weird and how fidgety he was. Saying how, okay, this explains it all. Pointing to Luffy that the guy killed the king, the whole country hates him, so he told you a lie, dude. And Luffy's like shouting, saying he said he knows where Shanks is, and going like, do you know how much I've wanted to see him? But Zoro goes like, yeah, let's see. You talk about it all the time. And says, let's see, and he says that Loki probably did it to take advantage, and this is probably where Luffy's getting mad, saying, you think that Loki doesn't even know? But Zoro is pointing out, I'm just basing it on his reputation, saying he didn't see the guy. When we get more of a Luffy flashing back to what Loki says, I'll tell you everything I know, including where Redhead is now. And Luffy deciding if he's lying, he did not let him go and said he'll beat him up instead. And then we cut to Nami says, I wondered why you were sneaking around, saying, have you guys ever gotten to your destinations without me? And then you got Zoro saying, listen, Luffy, saying, you get the keys to the cuffs, but we're going to decide if he's telling the truth or not. But Luffy says, okay, got it, thanks. And we see that Road is piloting them in one of those flying ships they have, and we see Zeus there as well. And Luffy's asking, so why Road's here anyway? With Nami saying that he's now my servant, with Road saying it's an honor. We get Zeus saying, but I am servant number 1, and Sanji number 2 got that, with Road saying, differfu. What a stimulating torture method. Let's see. Luffy surprised. I think Luffy's a bit surprised that Nami zapped him. But anyway, Road tries to smooth talk with Nami, saying, we share something in common, since they're both navigators. But Nami goes like, don't ever try to get close a distance between us again. But he goes like, of course not, in a sort of he finds it a bit flirty. And then we get Nami saying that I feel bad that we're taking the star of the show away. But Luffy's just laughing, saying he bought some meat anyway. Saying, did you try any of the moose yet to Nami? But Rhodes says they're all probably hammered now. They probably won't even remember what the feast was for. And he goes like, it's such a shame that the treasure in the castle will be disappearing. What do you think, Rhodo? And Rhodo's going and saying, my eyesight is poor. I doubt I'd even be able to tell it's gone. With I think Zoro pointing out, so that's why you're here, Nami. And she turns around going like, ha, with the berries in her eyes, and then you get Zoro saying, your eyes, clearly telling what Nami's really let's see, after while coming here. Anyway, we get a sort of let's see, well, I won't say that next part because it more fits with the final bit of the chapter, but I'm just gonna go to this bit here. I do like how Zoro is able to completely tell that Luffy is being what Luffy is doing and how fidgety he was and all that stuff. And the fact that, okay, all right, so you see, as Luffy probably, of course, told him off screen that he went to go see he saw Loki and told him about that deal with Shanks. I do like how Zoro is pointing to Luffy that let's see, dude, the whole country hates him and he likely told you a lie, even though Luffy is going but he said he promised to make me see Shanks, and of course Luffy's wanted to see him for so long. I do like how Zoro points out he probably lied to you in order to do that. Of course, Luffy is just being more annoyed by the possibility of lying, says just beat him up. But I do like Zoro's just saying, I'm just basing it on let's see, the reputation of the guy. So it's further emphasis on the reputation, maybe not actually what the guy is like. I do actually like that we get a bit more of flashback to what Luffy and Loki actually talked about saying that where Loki's saying that I'll tell you everything I know about Redhead, including where he is. So we got more context of like Luffy's deal with Loki. And I do like how Luffy, in his sort of Luffy fashion, like, okay, if you're lying to me, I'm gonna go beat you up. So there's that. But I do like the fact that Nami is coming along, saying that, let's see, going like, I wondered why you're sneaking around, and saying like, when have you guys gone out without your destination without him? So I do like that the original Straw Hat trio of Luffy, Zoro, and Nami, arguably the three main characters, and arguably, let's see, this is usually a trio that for most part, particularly in the old pre-time skip, started every grand big arc and saga with those three on an adventure in some way. So I do like that the fact that all three of them are like together, and it's like getting a bit more of that, let's see, classic trio dynamics, if you will. And arguably this is like really probably also emphasizing this is going to be a very massive, let's see, character-driven arc for the Straw Hats at the very least. So I do like that you've got them coming along. I do like how Zoro's making Luffy saying, I'm going to go find the keys, and then we're going to decide if he's telling the truth or not. And it's like accepting that. And I do see, it's also interesting that Road is coming along. It seems like Nami is taking him on as a servant now. Let's see, which he seems to actually enjoy. But he got zapped when he probably crossed the line somewhere by Zeus. I do, at the very least, like that Zeus is saying, I'm the number one servant, Sanji's number two, you're going to be number three, putting like a sort of hierarchy in the rank, which, granted, Sanji would probably not prefer that ranking, and says like, I'm the number one servant, not you, Zeus. But it seems like Rhodes just happy to be Nami's servant. Let's see, I do like how when he tries to get close to Navi about saying they're both navigators, but Nami says like, nope, no, getting close. Let's see, because at the very least, while Nami seems to at least be willing to accept Road as a servant, at least she's like putting a very reasonable distance between them. It's because like what he did earlier, which arguably most people would like after doing something like that, it's like, nope, stay away, you're never allowed near me again. Granted, Oda seems to be like wanting to do like a sort of gag, sort of redemption kind of thing with Road at the very least. Is going to at least like tag along, but making sure that he knows his boundaries at the very least. So there's that. But I do like the fact that Nami does show some concern about leaving early, but Road's saying that everyone's drunk, you'll be fine. And Luffy's just enjoying the meat. But yeah. But we also learned the reason, and I do like the fact the reason why Nami's only really tagging along is to get all the treasure, and making sure that Road, understands what she's up to, and him going like, oh, my eyes are dim, I can't really see. So it's like, okay, it's perfectly fine. It seems like Road seems to be completely fine with Nami, taking the treasure, but yeah. Come to think of it, Nami seems to be acting on her sort of Straw Hat Grand Fleet officer status by giving orders out to Rhodes. So, at the very least, I suppose I do kind of like that, even though it's just basically just to steal some treasure. And I do like that Zoro's just doing like, hey, okay, I see what you're here for. But then, of course, Nami does that classic berry eyes, so I do miss that. So, yeah, that was good. But anyway, we cut to like the underworld of like Elbaf, as we see Loki laughing, saying, so that's what it's about. As he's going like the Doga, ha 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 ha, going like, all right, I take your point, and saying that he refuses. Let's see, thinking that he's not going to spend the one life he has stooping to the level of trash that is as it's revealed that he's been invited to join the world nobles. Particularly the God's Knights of the world. While thanking him, saying that for the invitation, but he has no idea, but he has no intention of joining them. And then asks if they are celestial dragons. And you get like the sort of evil Shanks saying, "Where's the intel from?" as you got the female Guards Knight whose hood is now unclothed, and you see like her wearing a sort of hat saying, "The agents dispatched Denver sent one last transmission saying that a giant crow had appeared and nothing since then," which seems to imply Rhodes' giant crow, saying that they don't have any dirt on him. And then we get a close-up of let's see the female Guards Knight's face as we get a sort of hat similar to Cola's, and one eye iris white and the other sort of black as she's going like, "But now that I'm here, that I hear him for myself, he thinks that Loki's seemingly insolent." And when we get a full display of this Holy Knight, as it says, Holy Knight Gunko, as we see appearing to be what appears to be a headgear similar to like Kola, and what appears to be some sort of Japanese schoolgirl uniform, if you will, in a sort of military-like fashion. Let's see, like with like sort of futuristic shoes, but leggings that basically go up all the way to, you can see her wear them, for better lack of the word, panties, if you will. As from out her, let's see, right hand is this twirling arrow, as she says that we should simply erase him, with the evil Shank saying not to get ahead of yourself, Gunko, as a giant wolf comes behind them, as Luffy's laughing and telling the wolf to gobble them up. But as the wolf breathes on Gunko, she then goes like, "Hey, you breathed on me," and sends one of her arrows in her hand, surrounding the wolf, strangling him, much to Loki's shock, as Loki goes like, "Wolf!" With evil Shank saying, "If we offered to spare its life," saying, "Would you change his mind?" Let's see, if Loki go like, "You're offering me a deal," and saying, "In that case, your fate is sealed, my friend. Die and be at peace." As he goes like, "Yes, I'll be sad as well as angry," but goes like how a warrior doesn't quibble and whine about his way of death. As Loki shouts with his tongue out, saying, "Instead, it feeds on this rage, and he'll use it to bring the world to ruin." And that ends the chapter with that declaration. Okay, so we've finally got the Guards Knights have finally found Loki after the last chapter, seemingly managed to interrogate it from the location from those giants. And the most surprising thing is that offering Loki a position in the Guards Knights, in other words, inviting him to become apparently a world noble. Let's see, instead of, no, they're here to take his devil fruit, but no, instead they were trying to recruit him, which is a very shocking thing, because basically before this chapter, I think everyone thought, okay, they're just trying to like kill him and take his devil fruit, but nope, they're trying to recruit him. But he outright refuses and seems like he absolutely hates the world nobles. So it's like, nope, of course, I don't care about your offer, no matter how generous it may seem. But yeah, but we also learned that let's see, there's apparently the Guards Knight has sent some world government at the very least has sent scouts and people to try and get intel here, but apparently that none of them made it back and gave any transmissions since a giant crow came about, which makes me think that some of the citizens in Rhodes prison castle were actually kidnapped by Rhodes Crow there. So yeah, some of the citizens are actually world government agents, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see more on that. We'll see if any of them come out of like a Rhodes prison at the very least, and Rhodes prison and reunite with the Guards Knights there. But who knows? But at the very least, let's see. But yeah. Anyway, let's see. Let's see. We finally learned the name of one of the Holy Knights, and it's Gonko. But granted, I'll be honest, I have a bit of mixed feelings on this design. On one hand, I don't mind the Kola headgear. I think some people say like, "Oh, just reusing that," and apparently, Gonko's name is based on some sort of like bad girl Japanese military style uniforms, if you will, from like certain archetypes in anime and all that stuff. Don't mind like that part of the like a whole uniform bit, but I will admit, I I feel like, and granted, I saw this controversy on Twitter, the fact that people thought like the hype was kind of ruined with Gunko when you've got to see like the lower half of like Oda doing sort of like egghead designs for female characters, lower parts, which, okay, clearly Oda's still not gone out of that in his egghead phase, but all right. I mean, granted, I would have probably preferred it less revealing little bottom half. Apparently, I think even Japan fans thought that should have been a bit much. As I've seen a bunch of edits trying to fall on, let's see, trousers or skirts at the very least, which I probably would have preferred one of the skirts if you're going to go this route. But nevertheless, for the most part, I do like the design with like her hat. Let's see, her sort of like let's see, sleeveless, let's see, big sleeved hands, and then like her boots, but just like the leggings is all the thing is. But oh well, it is what it is. But I do like how we've got like the sort of twirling arrows coming out of her clothing and all that stuff. But anyway, it seems like Gunko, granted, she's introduced as Holy Knight Gunko, not like, let's see, Saint Goku or something like that. But at the very least, she seems to have like that high and mighty sense of being like an important world noble and just thinking that the fool in front of them is an incident that should be erased. But let's see, Evil Shanks is, of course, being calm. But I do like how we get to see a bit of her ability when the wolf comes in and Loki tells her to try and eat them up. But she's like, chose to have those arrows wrap around and strangle its neck. I do like how we also see Loki showing concern for Wolf, and I do like how the Evil Shanks tries to threaten Loki, saying, if you don't give, let's see, if you want this wolf to live, which you take our offer, change your mind on our offer, with Loki realizing, oh, okay, let's see what you're doing, but instead it just accepts his wolf is, to his fate and die. I think, no, granted, saying how it's a splendid death. Let's see, die and be at peace. And I do like how we got this bit of sense of Loki's character here, saying, let's see, while he will be sad, and angry, but he thinks like a warrior, does not quibble about her and whine about his death, and he will use it to fuel his own rage and bring ruin to the world. I like this sort of aspect of his characters, like, my comrades are warriors, they must be prepared to die, even I'm prepared to die, but I will use the death of my comrades to, and fuel my rage as I one day destroy this world, if you will. So, yeah, which arguably might mean some red flags that Loki probably might not end up surviving at the end, but at the very least, I do like this character. It's like, okay, he refuses to join the God's Knights, then even when threatened with his own comrades' friends' life, at least in terms of the pets, even then he still refuses to surrender and to join the God's Knights. Instead, will use this to like fuel his rage. So I do like that, but yeah, overall, it's a very good chapter. Basically, you got the Straw Hats interacting with the Giants, them being amazed by how some of the Straw Hats look. We learn basically the law of Nika. Apparently, that there's been at least 2 events that apparently Nika's been about. There's different interpretations of Nika. And Luffy, and all that talk about Luffy learning about Loki being a bad guy, but but he wants to try and confirm it for himself and not tagging along with like the original Straw Hat trio and Road, but who's been severely punished punished at the very least and being kept in a close distance. And then, of course, finally learning that the God's Knights are actually trying to recruit Loki, but he's just won't budge even with the threat of death or his beloved animal friend's death. So, yeah. Overall, I'd give this chapter a 9 out of 10. A pretty good chapter. It makes me hyped for the next one. So, yeah, which is now out. And I will review it when I get the chance. But for now, I am Blue Star Saber signing off. Thank you for listening into this stream. And I hope, I hope you will enjoy your day as I see you next time for like chapter 1137. Anyway, let's see. Goodbye for now.